Perfect. We are live. Hello, everybody at Facebook, in Facebook world and beyond. I am Liz Throp, and Amber Price is joining me along with our special guest today, Miss Lisa Scrivens. We are so pleased to have her here, and I'm just going to tell you a little bit about her because she's pretty freaking awesome. Lisa, since the age of 3, has been seeing and hearing spirit. She became aware that it is her life's purpose to share the messages of love and hope from the afterlife in 2012 after she had a visit from her grandmother from heaven. Since then, Lisa has toured across Canada selling out events and currently has a wait list of 6,000 people. She has been a keynote presenter at I Am Festival in Manitoba, as well as the Mark and Mandy Show, and has been featured in Focus Manitoba on Global TV. She has a weekly online broadcast on Facebook called Message Monday, which is awesome. You need to join her for that, where she shares messages from heaven with hundreds of people. Lisa has been called to volunteer with terminal cancer patients, providing different modalities of healing on a weekly basis. She supports her community by giving away services and by donating to fundraisers that help raise hundreds of thousands of dollars for those in need. Lisa is sincerely humbled by her gift and enjoys inspiring and teaching others to connect to their own guides and intuition so that they too can experience a more connected life on their path of growth and change. Welcome, Lisa.
Yay, I'm glad to be here. It's exciting.
We're so excited.
So excited to have you here. I cannot, we joined you on an event that some of you that are viewing this right now may remember, the Mediumship Summit, and you're just amazing, and I love you and adore you. But right out of the gate, I want to ask the first question about an event that you have coming up so that, you know, if anybody's interested, you can get this right out the gate. Can you tell us more about your Heaven for the Holidays event, please?
So every year I hold an event, and like you said, it's called Heaven for the Holidays. It's going to be virtual this year, and so I'm coming right into your homes. The tickets are $29 for the whole household. So your whole house can attend, and this is something we can do in quarantine time. And if it's a gift that you want to give, we have 2 dates. One is December 19th, and the other date is New Year's Day, January 1st. And, you know, what's really cool is that there's lots of gifts that will be given, but this gift could actually change your life. So a gift for someone where they can see or witness spirit, or they can get a reading themselves. It really truly could be, you know, a life-changing experience. So holidays are really hard. And I started this event in 2013, and it just brings people together. And what I really like about this year, the blessing in having it virtual, is say you have family in Calgary, let's say, and you have family in Toronto. If we choose you for a reading and you come up on the screen, I can have both your families come up and we can do a big family reading from 2 different provinces. So wow, that's really cool.
So cool.
Yeah.
So cool.
I love that because, you know, it is difficult in the holidays. It doesn't matter who you are, even ourselves, when you can connect to other, you know, energies and things, it's still heartwarming to have someone bring you a message from your loved ones, because, you know, you're missing them over this time of year. You're missing them every day, but, you know, it's especially hard. And, you know, this year is a different time. You're right. Like with the quarantine and the pandemic and the global health crisis. I mean, it's something that I find, you know, people are putting more emphasis on connections to family. So, I mean, this is going to be a perfect opportunity for people to come and to hear you deliver messages. And what I love is that today you've offered to give two lucky people a reading. So we'll get to that in a little bit, but I'm excited because I had the opportunity, like Liz was saying, to work with you at the Canadian Mediumship Summit this past October. And the way that you deliver your messages are so heartfelt and warm, and you can really feel the sincerity coming through it. So it would be a no-brainer that people would be able to actually feel the connection that you're able to deliver. So thanks for offering that for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exciting. So stick around, folks, that are on, because she is amazing. I've witnessed her in action. She's amazing. So we talked about in your bio that from an early age,
Mhm.
I think it was 3. Can you share with us like some of the experiences of, how you came to realize
Yeah,
your
like
ability?
it runs in my family. So on my mother's side, and nobody, we just talk about it like it's no big deal.
Yeah.
I remember being like 3 years old and seeing people, and then my grandmother would say, we can see people, that's what our family can do. And yeah, so I think when I was 5, my mom was like, "Oh, your grandfather came to visit me last night." And it was just no big deal. We just always could do it. And it's definitely not something that anybody, did as a profession, and not something that I really, saw myself doing. But I had a really profound experience with my grandmother. And so I don't know if you want me to share that, but it was
Please. Yeah,
pretty
please do.
amazing. So after she'd passed away, I still felt her around me. And I was a social worker. So I worked with children and youth. And I did that for 16 years. And, went to university. That was my path. I never saw myself doing anything else. I had this really great job, and I was working Monday to Friday, which is hard to get in the social work world, and, full benefits and pension. And I was like a lifer. Like that was my calling, was to work in social work. And I was just like, it was an ordinary day. I was driving and I was sitting at a stoplight and my grandmother sat next to me. And when she was alive, we'd kind of put our hands on the gear shift or the stick shift, even though it's automatic. And she'd put her hand over top of mine. So I put my hand down there and her hand rested softly on my hand. And I thought, oh my God. And every hair on my body was standing up. Like, it was such a powerful experience. And she said, Lisa, it's time to use your gift and it's time to help people. And I was crying and I was like, oh, you've got to be kidding me. I I was just freshly out of a relationship, a single mom. I was the only income. There was just no way. And she said to me, if you don't believe me, take my picture. And so by this time I'm driving and I just took my iPhone and started clicking the pictures at the passenger seat. And I got home, I was like shaking and crying. And I started like flipping through the pictures. And if you just hold it down, it does like a burst of
Yeah.
photos. And so I started like flicking through all these photos and kind of like pinching them to see if I could see anything in them. And then I got to the very last photo, and there was literally a beam of light shining right through the center of the passenger seat. And I was like, okay, game on, Grandma. Game
Yeah.
on. Yeah.
Hey,
And that
thank
was it.
goodness. Thank goodness that happened.
Yeah,
Yes.
that was it. So like I put a little, ad in Kijiji at that time, like I can, talk to people. And so I did that and I ended up with like 8 people the first day, which I thought was like really incredible.
Wow.
It was
Yes.
like a Saturday and it was like 8 people came to see me. And then that was it. Like those 8 people told people, told people. And
Yeah.
within 6 months, I was doing it full time. So
Yeah. Yeah.
See, that's how you know that you're living your divine purpose, right? Like when it works for you and you choose to listen to that guidance and follow your instincts, and
yeah.
then it's working. You don't have to worry about how it's going to work out, where it's going to, like, you just have to be willing to show up, do it, and the rest will unfold.
Yeah.
I love
So
It
true.
was a crazy ride. It was just like, I can't believe this is happening. And my work was like, what are you going to do? I was starting to get some media attention. I was just like, I'm just going to go for it. I think,
Wow.
I think my parents thought I was crazy because I was on my own doing the single mom thing. So
Yeah.
anyway, yeah.
Well, it's not the traditional
Yeah.
the path, right? It's the path
Yeah.
least taken. So I think that people are kind of shocked, and you have those, you know, what do they call them? The golden handcuffs, because you have the Monday to Friday, the day shift, you have this career that you had gone to school for. And then all of a sudden you have this yearning and pulling to go over here. And it's hard. It's hard to make those choices and decisions. But yeah, like
We both had to do it too, right? You and
Yeah.
I both had to do the same
that's
thing.
right.
Walk away from career and just succumb and trust.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kept getting sick. So it was like every time I would get sick and sick and sick. And I was like, what the heck? You know, and then I finally had to be like, okay, well, I can't work because I'm too sick. And then I was sick because I wasn't listening. And then when I listened, I was healthy. So I was putting it all together. But yeah, you know, sometimes you need to be hit over the head with that bat before you before I realized that that's what was supposed to happen in my case anyways. But yeah.
Well, there's a lot of resistance, right? I'm sure we all three of us felt that resistance, like how do we fully sort of succumb to this? But having your grandmother come through like that, what a beautiful, you know, situation to happen.
Yeah. And I also felt like at that time she'd kind of opened the door further between here and heaven for me. It was not just her telling me, but then I was able to get details, and I was able to do readings that I probably wouldn't have been able to do before. Like, she just made it so clear for me, and she's one of my guides now, so she helps me out.
Perfect.
You know, I love that your grandparents, or all of our grandparents, or whoever is on the other side for us, because yesterday, I'm just going to share this quick story. I had to stop at the butcher, and I haven't been going shopping on my own. I've been just trying to stay clear of things, right? But yesterday I ran in quickly, and all of a sudden this gentleman walks in and he says, I'm here to pick up the order for, and he said his name, and I whipped my head around, and he just kind of like was taken aback as to how come I was staring at him so abruptly. But his name was the same name as my grandfather. Now, 3 minutes before I walked into that store, I was driving, and I had said to him, I love you so much. I miss you over the holidays. I miss you every day. I haven't felt you, you know, can you please come and say hello? Forgot all about it because I was like, oh my God, I hope there's not a lot of people in the store. I just want to come in and come out. I get in there, and next thing you know, there he is. So I said to him, I said, you know, sorry if I kind of was eavesdropping and scared you when I looked at you. I said, but this is the name of my grandfather. And he says, yeah, it's my name too. And he says, it was my grandfather's name, and my grandfather, I was named after my grandfather. And I said, but it's not a common name. He says, tell me about it, right? Because he's lived with it, and it's not a common name. And I just was blown away. So I told him the story, and of course he was just overjoyed that I shared it with him. But it was just that moment where it doesn't matter if it's us who we trust and have faith in the process. Sometimes it's that, wow, it caught you off guard, or it's smack dab in your face, and you cannot not take that as a sign, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah, people need to.
Those things happen. Sorry,
I think it really goes to show, like, if you're really missing your loved one, you can always ask for a sign.
Yeah.
And it will be delivered to you in ways that you can't even expect. And just like it was for you, Amber, like, that's amazing. You just asked for it, and then it happened.
Yeah, and
you didn't have to do anything.
Yeah, the beauty was I asked for it, and then became almost like nervous about, oh, I got to go in here, totally forgot, and then bam, there he is. Every fear, worry, concern gone. It was just this like moment, and this warm hug, you know. So yeah, it really is, ask for it, you shall receive. Just don't look.
That's actually a perfect segue for what we're talking about today, right, ladies? Because we're coming into the holiday season, and for, you know, all of us that have lost somebody like Amber, you're missing them over this time frame. And let's face it, it's a little bit of a different world right now. So there's extra stresses and pressures on all of us. And the idea that you could just have to ask, you just have to ask them to come through. So, you know, what is your take on the holiday season, Lisa? Like, what do you find is important to know?
I think that spirit loves to be remembered. And so if you can find different ways to remember your loved ones over the holidays by doing different rituals, or things like, writing letters to your loved ones, doing something they would have loved to do if they were still here, just finding things to bring spirit closer to you. And I find, like, when you think of spirit, or when you remember them, or you do something for them, that brings their energy right to you.
I agree. I agree. And I think it's important to have conversations about them around the dinner table. Do you remember this? Do you remember that? I loved how they used to do this. That's just, it's honoring their memory. And I think it's so beautiful, and it will help to, I think there's a lot of challenges in the Western culture for grieving, where we try and pack it away, right? I don't want to think about it. It's too painful. Whereas in a lot of other cultures, it's, I think it's in South America where they unbury their dead and dress them up, and and they really work with the soul of who used to be in that body, but they still treasure the body. They redress them, and we're the weird ones in North America, right, guys? Like, we're the ones that have the hang up over death and fear over it, and we don't want to talk about it. It's like a taboo subject, and I think the three of us are in an industry where we can't have that, right? Like, we got to talk about it. We got to talk about it.
I think that the thing that I notice most, and you ladies can comment on this in your perspective, but when I've been working with people who've lost their loved ones, and then spirit will bring their message through, and they're there, the one message that they often want to convey is just that. One, I'm with you always. However, the grief can be a cloud. It can kind of take over that ability to get those connections. But more importantly, the message that I always hear, it doesn't matter from who it is. It could have been somebody who did not even want to celebrate a holiday or didn't like to be honored on their birthday. What the message was still keep your traditions, still celebrate, still have those things, because that raises our vibration. And like you said, Liz, it brings them closer so that you can actually feel them. So when you have that kind of reminiscent moment of, wow, it looks like I just talked about him, and then it looks like he's sitting right there in the chair. Well, trust that you just brought him. Those messages and thoughts and memories just created that connection. So did you get those messages too from loved ones, that they want them to continue to celebrate and honor them?
Yeah, I sure did. What about you, Lisa?
Yeah. And I think, we have this thinking of, we want to, try to not remember our loved ones because it's too painful. And so people try to, like, I don't know, some people try to ignore the fact that it's the holidays, or not celebrate the holidays. And there's actually a lot of comfort that can come by celebrating our loved ones. And I think that, yeah, there is this message that our loved ones really want us to move on. They really, I don't think move on, but they really want us to still celebrate the life that we have.
Yes, I agree. I couldn't agree more with you. That's a long-standing message that I've been receiving from spirit for those who come seeking connection, is that, they understand the sadness and the sorrow that we're experiencing when we lose them. However, they don't want us to put our life on pause, or, to be in sorrow or grief, because they're good. They're good. They're living elsewhere energetically, and they are literally a thought away. And so if you miss them, just even a thought, thinking of their name, thinking of their smell, their look, whatever, that brings them immediately there. And I don't know if you guys got this as well, but I've always been told from spirit that they can be multiple places, and simultaneously, they could be at different parts of the world simultaneously, and visiting all different family members at the same moment. So yeah, same as you guys. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Do you know what? While we're talking about this, I'm an empath, as both of you are, but I'm getting such a tight pull in my solar plexus chakra. So I know we're hitting home with certain viewers that are out there, or people that will be watching this. And knowing that I've gone through my own grief, whether it was for a loss of a family member, a pet, a job, a friend, whatever it is. What I've recognized in myself is that inability to want to speak about it means that we have to release some of that control over keeping that guarded, wounded masculine energy up of, if I'm not speaking about it, then I can't unlock the floodgates. The floodgates aren't going to open, and I'm not going to have to feel the sadness. I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to feel vulnerable. So I feel like as I'm getting this message and my solar plexus chakra, right where your ribs meet, it's tightening. I feel like it's important to say to some of you who might be saying, well, how do you get through this process? How do you open up to this? How do you let go? Or how do you embrace these things at this time, especially when you hurt so much? And you guys can comment on this, but for me, I feel like it's surrendering to either now or never, right? So you have the moment to be able to like go within and connect and let yourself cry for 5 minutes, let yourself cry for a day, whatever you need. If you're angry, write it down and let it out. But I think that once you release that, you will be able to see that there's more love and more energy that's going to be connecting you to those moments. So really, I'm going to say it's that first moment of making the choice of surrendering to that emotion and to that experience. And once you do that one choice to make that, everything else will fall into place. So I think it's the fear of what if it won't stop? What if I can't get it under control? And there's support systems out there for you as well when you need that. If you can't know how to do it on your own, or you do need that support system to help you get it under control. But I think just for me, that was what I was getting called to say about that.
Mm-hmm. You know what, Amber, when you said that, I couldn't agree more. And I think it really resonates. What we're saying, we're not saying don't grieve. We're not saying don't experience that grief, because I really feel like it's important to honor that. Mm-hmm. And I think honoring that when those feelings arise, because grief comes at sneaky times. You could be standing in the supermarket, and buying an avocado, and your loved one loved those. And then all of a sudden you're crying standing in the fruit and vegetable aisle. Yeah. And when those moments come, when that wave of grief comes, just honor it. Mm-hmm. And like you said, Amber, it will end. Yeah. If you experience it fully, that's a way through the path of grief and pain. And so as we're experiencing that and you get to the other side of that, there's a part of us that heals. Mm-hmm. And I think when we try to keep it inside, it keeps eating away at our soul. And then to understand that grief is a lifelong process. It's not something to just deal with, and it's not something that just goes away. It's something that's going to come in waves and come in different parts of our lives throughout our lives. But that doesn't mean that we can't keep living our lives as that happens.
100%. I couldn't agree more. I think a lot of people that I connect with are trying to put the grieving process out the window, or they are so involved in it that they don't know how to get out now. How do I even find joy again? How can I be happy knowing that this has happened, knowing that I have this loss? How can I find joy again? And it's like you said, you're supposed to embrace pain. I think the only way to get through any challenge in life, and obviously grief is, I would say, the number one challenge, is to absolutely embrace it and go through the feelings and emotions. You're supposed to, you're human, and it's okay to feel sad, and it's okay to be angry, and it's okay to not want to get up and go and do things, but you're going to at some point feel that lesson. And it's in those moments you can step out and do something, braver to help you get to the next phase. But having conversations about our loved ones and, really making them a part of the family unit still, or the friend circle, wherever the loss may fall, it creates that, I think when we don't talk about them, I think it creates an illusion that they never existed. And then there's guilt and remorse that goes with that. And so I think that's why it's so important to help get through. We've all experienced loss, all three of us. So we totally get that. But I found really communicating my feelings and emotions, and really, I like you, I think it was Lisa that said, get a journal, write it down. Was it you, Lisa, that was talking about that?
Mm-hmm.
That is actually, if you don't have anyone you want to talk to and bring, because I think we feel burdened, right? We feel like we're going to burden people when we communicate with them about our loss. Um, people don't, I don't think people are ever burdened by hearing, stories of loved ones that are passed. The 99% of the people out there want to support you in your loss. So
And then the
staying.
other percent, sorry, Liz, but the other percent doesn't know how.
That's right.
They might not know how to support you. So then
Yeah.
it becomes, okay, I don't know what to say, so let's just not say anything. Or I don't know what else to say except for, oh, you have to move on or come out and do something fun. So everybody's doing their best. The griever is doing their best. The person supporting the person who's grieving is doing their best.
Yeah, so true. And likely they're grieving as well, right? The supporters grieving as well. But yeah, I think that just, be okay with crying. Be okay with having off days. It's okay. It's okay. You're allowed to have that. But every day make a pact with yourself to do something that's going to lift you back into joy, and know that your loved ones are supporting that journey. They want you to be in joy again. They want you to find laughter again. They want you to feel happy again. That's important. I've had many spirit tell me that the last thing on the planet they want to do is be responsible for someone's misery and sadness. They don't want that. That's like it makes them feel awful. So they're often coming through to release you of that obligation to carry that burden. And it's beautiful for the three of us. We know spirit exists. We communicate with them daily, right? So we have no fear that if we lose a loved one, that we're still going to have that overwhelming sadness. Because we don't physically get to see them, but we know that they're there. And so that gives us so much comfort knowing that. I don't know about you girls personally, but I find loss so different from when I didn't know the connection that I had, if that makes sense to you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Same for you?
Yeah. I think loss and grief is interesting in my life. About 2.5 years ago, the other parent to my children, she passed away suddenly. And it brought me to my knees. Like, it was, a Monday afternoon at 4:30, and I got a phone call that changed the rest of my life. And for me, even with that knowledge of, she's in a better place, and everything happens the way it's supposed to, like all the things that I have kind of, comforted myself or got to know about myself in spirit, it kind of all went out the window, to be honest with you. Like, all of a sudden I had this, 7 and 10-year-old who lost their parent, and I had to kind of brave a new world. And, even though we weren't together anymore, we still co-parented. And, it was the day after Mother's Day, and we just had a beautiful Mother's Day brunch together with the children. And, it brought me literally to my knees. I don't think I've ever experienced grief like that in my life. And it really took a while for me to get my bearings about me. And it gave me an understanding of loss in a different way than I had before.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think it's an interesting point that you bring up, because I think a lot of your bringing to your knees was, how do I navigate this with my children now? So you were grieving not only for yourself, but also for your children and their future. So that is a big part of the grieving process, right? Analyzing or taking ownership of what's yours, and then what we put responsibility on ourselves for others. And obviously, if you're a mama, you're going to be, completely taking on the burden of the grief for the children. And how do I navigate this now? So, for those that have lost a parent, or, a co-parent, or, even a child. That is unique unto itself. I mean, all loss is horrific, but I can't even fathom that. It would be, yeah.
Yeah, there's certain things about like how the relationship affects you, how your life changes from that, how much of an impact it will create, you know, that ripple effect into the future, and the unfinished business, or maybe things that you wish you coulda, woulda, shoulda at, you know, behind that. And sometimes it takes a long time. And yeah, being enlightened and being connected to spirit sometimes doesn't take those things away. It can soften it a little later when you finally come out of that grief, you know, that energy level of the grief. And some people take a lot longer to do that than others. And sometimes people live in grief for a long time, or forever. But you know, for instance, there's at least one person that I had lost in my lifetime that there's not really, you know, a time that goes by that I don't think about them, that I wonder why that had to happen. You know, your human mind will go through, what's the bigger picture? What did we have to learn from that? How come this had to happen to this person or this family or us? And, you know, so I think there's a lot of that we put pressure on ourselves to understand and get rid of. And we can't have that pressure of, you need to grieve within 30 days and no longer anything affects you. I mean, we have to be open to the fact that this is a part of the human experience. And unfortunately, all of us, every single person on the planet, will have to experience loss and grief in one way, shape, or form or another. It's just the inevitable thing that has to happen. It could be, you know, like I said, it could be grieving a job. It could be grieving a friendship. It could be grieving a death. It could be grieving finances. Whatever it is, they'll have different levels, and you still have to go through those stages. But you have to allow yourself to know that that is something that we're all going to have to experience, just as if we all breathe the air that we have to breathe, to keep alive. So, but it is difficult. It doesn't take it away. But after we get through that space, I know for me, it becomes, okay, all right, let me think about this for a second, or not think about it for a second, and let me feel into this. And that's what I do. What do you guys do? Because I feel into things. So when I know my brain is starting to go down this rabbit hole of, you know, negative energy, I stop it altogether and I'm like, okay, what do I actually feel about this? Because if I feel like I'm not actually that upset, but my mind keeps telling me I am, then just stop it. Or if I feel like I need to go and do something, then just get up and do it. But what do you guys do to get out of that cycle of negative thinking?
So I'll go first, Lisa, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Because I just experienced this.
Perfect.
Just did it, just like literally. So, you know, I tend to attach myself to victim energy every once in a while. And, you know, back in the day, you know, back in the old days when Liz wasn't as aware, I'd hang out there forever, like, and just be such a victim. Now, my method is awareness, right? So now when I'm finding, and I don't like to get out of it, which is one of the weird things, right? So there's obviously some kind of addiction there that I have in being a victim. Clearly.
I love when you say these things, because so many people can relate. Like, people relate to what you're saying. It's like, yeah, why do I want to get up? No, I deserve to be mad about this.
Yeah, exactly. It's ridiculous, right? So I'll hang out there. I'm like, no, I don't even care that I am aware that I'm doing this. I'm doing it. I don't care. I want to be angry. I want to be sad. I want to be whatever. And I usually, where it used to take me weeks, months, and years, I'm not going to lie, guys. Now I can pretty much snap out of it within a few days, or if not a day, you know, in the real extreme stuff, like having the pity party for myself, getting this house ready for sale. I've had a pity party over that, not going to lie, but I knew it had to be done, right? But I still wanted to feel sorry for myself over it. It was ridiculous, you know, but I'm aware that I'm doing it, and I don't know why I like to hang out there. So yeah, so I'll let you take it away, Lisa. What's your thoughts?
I mean, I always come to gratitude. And so whenever I'm having a rough time, I just think about the times with that person that I'm just feel so much gratitude for. And it seems to pull me out of the spot that I'm in, you know, if I allow myself. And sometimes I like to be, you know, wallowing in the victim. I think we all do, right?
We all do.
And we give ourselves permission to do that, and that's okay. But, you know, if I really just want to sit there in a state of like, okay, there are some moments with this person that I'm great, like feel so much gratitude for, I take myself through an exercise of gratitude and just think of all the happy moments and the beautiful moments and the like those moments in life that we just want to savor forever. And I just go to those moments, and they seem to pull me out of where I am.
That's amazing. So we've got feel into it, awareness, gratitude, and earlier we alluded to surrender, like, you know, surrender into the process. So if you're all out there and you're wondering, how in the world do I get through this? How do I get out of this? Practice any one of those 4 things. And, you know, practice is the key word, because it's not going to be like, bam, we got this and, you know, gold star, but, you know, just try it and see how it feels and move through it. You know what I'm very excited about? Liz, do we have anybody out there that is looking, you know, maybe Lisa has a connection? Lisa, are you excited?
Yeah, let's take a look, shall we? So we have quite a few comments. So a lot of hellos. Okay.
Lisa, how do you want to do that? I should have asked you ahead of time. Do you
I don't
want
know.
Okay, why don't we do this? Like, I'm going to say the next person that posts something, I will ask, I'll give you the, do you need the name, Lisa? Or do you want to just randomly give us what you're getting and allow someone to, why don't we do that? Why don't we do that, guys?
You can do that.
Whatever works for you, Lisa.
Yeah, it's got to be better.
Okay, well, how about you give me a name of someone?
Okay, so I'll honor what I said originally. So Debbie Muir.
Okay, Debbie. So Debbie, we're gonna do a reading for you today, and this is really awesome. What I love about these readings is I call them like blind readings, right? So I can't see you, I know nothing about you, I can't even see the Facebook page that Liz is like on right now. All I can see is Amber and Liz. So what I love about this is that everything that's coming through is like 100% for you, Debbie. Okay. So I'm just going to connect to Debbie and what's going on for her. Right away, Debbie, I see a male. He seems like he's over 60 or over 65. He's a little bit of a bigger guy, and he has this very protective feeling about you. So his spirit is above you. So I'm going to say he's a little older than you. He's really funny, and he seems like he likes a good joke. Like he really likes a good joke. He's giving me the number 16. So usually that's like a celebration of a birthday, an anniversary. Sometimes it can even be a house number or a jersey number. And so that 16 is connected to him. It doesn't necessarily need to be from him. But let's say, Debbie, you have a daughter and her birthday's on the 16th of the month, that would count. Okay. So as he's also talking about like little children running around. And he's making me feel like he liked to do lots of work with like either metal or tinkering with things. Like I can see kind of metal around him. At some point in his life, he had a mustache. I'm not sure if that's when he passed away had the mustache, but he really likes the mustache. Okay. He said when he passed away, there was an older woman. It seems like probably his mother was there to greet him. She's short and skinny. And he was like, it was a joyous reunion. He had missed her so, so much. But I'm going to say, because he's above you, he's probably a father, a grandfather figure, might be an uncle, not sure. His message for you, Debbie, is, put the shopping bags down. So maybe you've done a little bit too much shopping. And then he's like, take care of yourself. He's showing me a nice warm bath, and he's saying, take care of yourself. He's making me feel like he's been gone for a while, but not, probably, 5 years and under. And then he just makes me feel like he wants the kids to be happy. He wants you to be happy, kind of like what we were just talking about. And he's talking a little bit about your health and feeling run down. And I feel like sometimes they'll talk about health kind of stuff. And, you know, with that health, I feel like, you know, your lungs are a little fatigued. So making sure that you're not around a lot of chemicals, anything that's kind of, you know, impacting your lungs and just take care of your body. So that is my reading for Debbie.
Oh, that's beautiful.
That
That's
was
beautiful. How
amazing.
Okay.
Amazing. I know Debbie, so I know you nailed it. But I'm thinking it was her husband that you were picking
Okay.
up. Okay.
Sure. He's very protective over her.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And maybe that's why there was like that kind of like father energy with her, is like so protective. Like,
yeah. So she's saying, yes, you are spot on with everything. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, I'm so happy for you, Debbie. Thank you, Lisa.
Okay. So I'm going to give you, I've got, okay, I'm just going to quickly do a quick random count here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1 and 20. Pick a number between 1 and 20 and I'll give you that name. That way I'm
13.
not
13.
13?
Yeah.
Okay, from the original Debbie post. 13. Okay. Okay. Oh gosh. Okay, hang on. Now I gotta find where it was. I'm so sorry. Okay.
The anticipation is killing me.
I know, it's killing me too. Oh my gosh. Okay. Here we go. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Laura Nickerson.
Laura Nickerson. Okay, so let me just connect with Laura's energy. And this is the really cool part when we were kind of talking before, is like energy can be everywhere all at once. So when I'm reading Laura, that energy is with Laura, but it's also with me. And it's also with other people that are connected to Laura. So let's just see. Let's connect to Laura. Like right away, I feel like this female is around her. So this is a female. It's next to her. So it feels like very like they're friends as well, but sometimes our family members can be friends. So let's just go. And then I'm seeing like figure skating. So maybe when Laura was younger, there was like figure skating or dancing. I feel like there's a birthday right around today that Laura's supposed to celebrate. So that's within the family. Like I feel like I'm eating chocolate cake. And I feel like this woman that's standing next to Laura is like, come on, like, this is interesting because it's very similar to what we were just talking about. Like, this is a happy time. I want you to be happy. I feel like there was some sort of like cancer within her abdomen area. So that could be like stomach, intestinal type cancer. And it kind of was really aggressive and fast. But this is interesting, like with this kind of, she seems younger, like she seems like this younger female spirit. There is this older female spirit that's connected to you, Laura, as well. And that seems like a grandmother figure. She's making me eat jam. So it's really like, I love the jam. And then she's got a whole bunch of books. Like I can smell lots of books. So either Laura, you love books, or she loves books. She's giving me the month of September being a really important month for this grandmother figure. So you've got two figures kind of stepping forward. You have this kind of younger female with cancer, and then this older kind of grandmother figure. And she seems like she might have had some trouble with her eyes. So like glaucoma or like a detached retina. There's something going on with her eyes as well. So she wants you to know that she can see again. And she's so happy that she can see again. Together, they're talking about you grieving a lot in your life right now and things being really difficult. And what they want you to know is everything is kind of like, in this downward spiral, but things are going to start to lift up and they're going to start to kind of grow and grow and grow. And things are going to get a lot better for you. So I want you to have faith, Laura, that things are going to get better and that your heart is going to be healed. So Thank you so much.
Perfect.
Oh, I love
Now,
that.
Laura, if you could just quantify that for us. Everybody let Laura communicate. I hope she's still on. I haven't had any posts from her, but
That's okay.
That's
There's like, isn't there a replay that she can
Yes.
watch?
100%.
Yes. Yeah.
100%.
So you have to like tag her in the post and like, Laura, you just got a reading.
Yes.
Yeah, right. She just chimed in. Thank you so much with a bunch of hearts.
Oh,
Clearly that hit home for her.
awesome.
And I'm so glad that we picked a random 13, and clearly she needed to hear this message that things are going to improve for her.
That's awesome.
It is amazing. I don't know. Did you want to do any more, or are you good for that? Like, I don't want to put
good.
You're good. Yeah.
Good. I feel like it's good.
That's
But there is something that I wanted to talk about after we're talking about everything, is how to help kids through the holidays.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's do it. Let's talk about it.
Yes, please.
Because like I'm thinking about my own kids, and we talked about them losing their parent. And kids are kind of unique into their own, right? And so, we as adults have lots of resources within us and lots of resources around us to really help us through the holidays, but kids haven't had that life experience. And so if you have kids that are missing grandma and grandpa, that are missing their auntie so-and-so, like, how do we help kids through the holidays when they're used to having that person there at the dinner table? Or even this holiday, there's lots of families that won't be together. So how can we help our kids through that?
Yes. Yes. Those are very important things. I think intuitively, just as an example, I find that sometimes when you have the parent of the child that's able to have that conversation with the children and feel open enough to do so, there's also that resistance I find from the child to be opening up to the parent. Because I know in my own personal experience, sometimes they're willing to talk to their siblings about things and not necessarily come to the parent. So then you're hoping that you as the parent or whatever has given the older children or each of the children enough information, or to know where to find resources, or to know that just, kind of what to do or to say. But that was in my experience. I find my 5 kids that we were raising, they tend to go with each other. So sometimes they'll come to us, and other times we'll find out from the other children that this is what's going on. And so just to be able to support, knowing that they might feel more comfortable speaking to the aunt or this sister or brother or whatever as well, and hoping maybe having a conversation ahead of time to say, here's how we can do this, or what to support, so that they feel comfy with at least the one person maybe they're most comfortable with.
I couldn't agree more. Communication 101, right? So be open, and especially where children are concerned, it's okay. I think we try to be so brave when we're dealing with our children, with our feelings and emotions, and they can smell it a mile away, right? They know when you're sad, they know when you're upset. So when you're in the grieving process, and I can just call on experience from when my brother passed away when I was 10, it shut my family down. Like, it shut us down. And I can remember thinking, I can't talk about this because it's going to upset everybody. So we all just have to just pretend it didn't happen. And that's how we kind of dealt with it. And I remember people at school trying to talk to me about it. And because I was getting that feedback, and I thought, we're not supposed to talk about it because I'll cry and then I'll be embarrassed at 10 years old, right? Mm-hmm. So having that, okay to have feelings and emotions, right out of the gate, having any, like, especially if a child is grieving, any kind of counseling you can get, whatever resources you can tap into financially or, in your area, take advantage of that. There is not enough, I don't think, counseling for grief. I don't think there is. I think it's an important thing. It's about communicating. And then finally, I would say, having, especially around the holidays, as I got older, I can tell you, when I got my driver's license, I used to drive to the graveyard and drop a letter at my brother's or have a conversation with him. And I would hang out there when I could. Weird, right? But not weird, because we've all done it. So don't be afraid to visit your loved one where they're buried, but also be aware that they are present no matter where you are. They don't live in the graveyard. So, but that's just, I think that's for the human experience to have a closure space, right? But yeah, what about you,
And
Lisa?
Liz, like how, I just wonder, like, what would you have liked when you did 10-year-old self or 12-year-old self, like around Christmas, like what would have been helpful for you? Because yeah,
So
like,
I can tell you when I got older, that's when I got my license, I would drop little gifts off, right? So I would have liked, I can look back and kind of think, I would have liked it if my parents acted like he did exist, and we were allowed to talk about him, and if I could have gone shopping and bought him a little trinket to put on his grave, right? So that I could acknowledge that this has happened, right? Um, I think it's just literally communication. As much as you're grieving, don't be afraid to let them know you're sad too, and let them know that it's okay for them to be sad, and we can share that, or I can be strong for you today and you can be strong for me tomorrow. I think we try to be so brave with our kids. That stiffer upper lip. I mean, I had British parents, right? So it was like, we're good. But we weren't, right? We were imploding, right? So yeah, I think just I can't stress it enough. Like whatever they ask, like what would you like to do? Or maybe ask them, what would you like to do to honor her this year? Like, do you want, like, I want you guys to think out of the box. Let's do anything. And maybe it's buying a star, right? Maybe you name a star after her, or you buy a little trinket for the graveyard, or, you create, you buy a little ornament for the tree that honors her, something that doesn't mean she didn't exist. Because I think kids need that, right? And they'll let you know when they're ready and they're moving on from it, but they'll always honor that because it's a beautiful thing.
yeah, I think that's so beautiful. Like ask the children like what they would like to do, because I think sometimes as adults we like to kind of take over and like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And it's like the kids are like, well, we didn't really want to do this, but we'll do it because you think it might be helpful for us,
Exactly.
Exactly. But I think doing a ritual, like something that you do every year, is really helpful. So ritual is really important. And, whether it's writing notes, whether it's buying a present, one thing that we like to do in our house is give back, because their other mom was such a giver, right? So what we do is, we pick a family and we buy toys and Christmas dinner, and that's in her name, right? That's because of her. And so it's something positive that can come out of something so negative.
Yeah,
so,
perfect.
yeah.
I have a little similar experience, Lisa, because both you and I had the ability to raise children after losing a parent. And mine was a little bit different because it's my daughter, but my husband's biological daughter. So I've been raising her since she was 2. And sometimes you don't know what the right thing to do is as the parent. So even when you ask the child, they may not know what to say, or if it's okay from others that they're grieving or doing things a certain way. And I know for a long time, we would make cupcakes on the parent's birthday. We would go and, do road trips, like a little car trip around a certain favorite spots that they knew of. It was difficult because as the other parent coming in, it's a difficult space to be in. But my goal was for her to have a safe space to be able to honor this. And me not having any knowledge or experience with the other parent at all was a little bit more challenging, because neither of us knew what we were trying to do. Like we were both trying to honor and love and like work through this. But I think at the end of the day, neither of us knew who we were trying to grieve. We just knew what we were grieving. We were grieving the loss of her mother. We were grieving the loss of this parent, this person, this spouse, this beautiful person. but not knowing what to do. And I just wanted to convey with this is that if you try, you can't go wrong. Just try to do something. Even if you don't, neither of you know what the heck is going on, as long as you're talking about it. And as long as today we feel like doing something, tomorrow we don't. Last year we wanted to bake cupcakes, this year we might not. Like you just have to kind of go with the flow and how you feel. But like I had said more than once, like, what do you need? What do you want? And then she would respond back with, I don't know. What should I want? What should I need? I don't know. Like, we're both kind of just trying to figure it out and go with the flow. But the main part is, the biggest thing is the support system from her family, the support system from our family, friends, and everybody just trying to, like you said, Liz, it's like, just communicate. Like, just, even if there's separate pieces of knowing what to do, if everybody's kind of doing it together and supporting together on the way that they're able to do, you know, one day they might need something that they didn't need last year. And we all have to kind of gather up and kind of go into that direction and see how it plays out. But I just wanted to say, sometimes even though you think you know what you want to do, you don't know what to do, because you may not know what to do. Like, you don't know.
I think it's also, you know what, I think it's also important, like you're stirring up some memories for me about stuff like that in my own childhood. And, you know, I used to get frustrated with people because they didn't know that I needed love and support or help. And then when they asked me for it and I didn't need it, I was like, what's wrong with you? What do I look like I need help? I became very defensive. Mm-hmm. But in the moment, you know, it's, you know, have the conversation with your children and say, look, I'm not a mind reader. So if you're having challenges, you just got to tell me and we'll work through it together in the moment. Or if you don't want me to work through it with you, tell me anyway, and tell me that you don't want me to work through it with you. You just want to be in the moment. Yeah. But having that open, you know, the ability to grieve how they want to is, it's yeah, because we're not, especially moms, we feel very obligated, right?
We want to love and fix and help and heal.
Yeah. Let me just get you in my wings and we're safe, you know? But yeah, it doesn't work like that, right? And remembering as well with our children that this journey is part of, you know, this experience and this soul's journey is part of the plan for them. So the bigger picture is the higher awareness from this moment is going to play out later for them. Yeah. And so have some comfort there. Know that it's not the worst thing that's ever happened to them. You know, it's part of their soul's journey. And that will help ease the pressure off of you a little bit. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's a toughie, but you know, we're all going to get through it at our own pace.
Yeah,
you know?
We just have to know we're together. You know, I think I always say that life is about connection. And if you don't feel open enough to connect, then you are bearing a lot of weight on your own. And if you can connect and realize that we are all human living in this, like we are not separate and, oh, I can't speak and share with this and I can't go over here and do that. And these people are different. Those people are different. We're actually not. So we're all doing this together. We're all needing something. There's not one person out there that could say, I got this, it's good, I know what I'm doing, and check to everything. Like, yeah. You know, we all are doing it. And so I love that, Lisa, thank you so much for connecting today, because I love too, your history as a social worker brings you into this world as, you know, this medium who's able to connect and heal the heart and connect the souls. And I think, again, you were meant to still do all of those things that led you right up to this moment, and to be able to share and connect. And I know I'm going to check out your Heaven for the Holidays. So I hope everybody else does, and share today's video and comment if, you know, if we can we'll put in the comments how to connect to you for your website and stuff. But if you just want to say it right now, how they can connect.
Yeah, to you. I realized that. Like, I was like, just come and buy a ticket, but I didn't. It's CanadianMedium.com. Really easy.
Perfect.
Yeah.
CanadianMedium.com, and check out Lisa. Even if you can't make it for that, get on her wait list. Check her out. Look at her. What do they do to connect to your Monday?
It's on Facebook.
Okay.
And so we have a Facebook group called Healing Together with Spirit. And it's for anyone. It's like an unpaid group, so you don't need to pay to join. And it's right off my main page. We do message Mondays, one Monday in our healing group, and then the next Monday right on my page. So we kind of alternate.
I love that. And I just wanted to mention, because of, sorry, Liz.
No, I'm saying perfect.
She fascinates me because you just, you donate readings to, can you tell us again who you donate these readings to? Because I think it's so fabulous. I'm always, and so is Liz, trying to connect to the community and be able to offer our services, you know, or do fundraisers. I do a lot with mental health. And so, but you go in and you actually provide readings to a certain group of people, right?
Well, there's a couple things that I do, like if a organization would like to apply to get a reading that they can raffle off or that they can use for a gala or whatever. Obviously the spaces are really limited, so they go for a lot of money.
Yes.
And that's like just so much fun too, because when the person like wins it or whatever, I just feel like, oh, they're totally meant to be here. Like this is what they're really meant to be. But the other thing that I do is I work with cancer patients. And so with them, we do kind of a combination of intuitive work. They always get a reading. And then we do like energy work. And I actually work with them through their whole cancer journey. So this isn't just like a one-time thing. They can apply to be on my list, and we work like weekly or every other week together throughout their journey. So sometimes it's years that I'm working with them, and sometimes it's months. Most of the people that are coming to me do have a terminal illness, so it's helping prepare them for the other side.
Beautiful. Just beautiful.
I just get chills. I just get chills because it's like so in alignment with your soul's purpose and what you're here to be doing. And I think that anybody that has the ability to connect with you, I mean, I fell in love with you immediately. This is why it is like, I love Lisa, and everybody knows I love Liz because I tell her every week, all day, every day. But like Lisa, I just love your energy. And that's what actually, you know, working together at the Mediumship Summit, all of us, that was just a blessing. But now next year, 2021, you're going to be a featured speaker at the Spiritual Excellence Halo Awards. So we have something to look forward to. We can connect again, and we're working on that. I think it's October 2nd is that one will be October 2nd. And it's anybody's guess as if it will be online or in person or a mix of both, but we'll get it to everybody.
Oh my gosh, I would love to meet you guys in person.
I would love it too.
Right?
I hope
my gosh.
We'll send it.
I'm going to make a prediction though. I'm thinking it's going to be online, sadly.
Really? Aw.
Boo.
I suck.
I always say I'm not that kind of.
I'm wrong.
I'm not that kind of psychic. I can't ever tell. I'm like, okay, people ask me, I'm like, I have no idea.
Yeah. You know, there's certain things that I don't think we're supposed, like some people are supposed to get glimpses of and other people aren't supposed to get that. Like I always tell people, I'm like, I don't get negative information. They're like, it's okay. Tell me whatever you get. I don't care. I'm like, no, I actually do not get it. Like they don't tell me, you know, I think that's my way of saying I'll work for you if it's going to help someone feel positive and have a different outlet, but I can't bear that burden, and they know that. But it's interesting on how each of us will receive information. So Liz, boo.
I know. 2 thumbs down.
Either way, we will meet you in person at one point or another so that we can get together and
we're so gonna meet in person at some point. It's totally happening. That I'm gonna make that prediction as well. We're totally meeting.
Better.
Right? When that Mediumship Summit goes on tour and it's live, just think, girls.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my goodness. Such amazing. Right? Okay. Well, I had the best time today talking to you ladies, and thank you for all of the work and love and light that you both share. And Lisa, thank you for coming on today, and we will definitely be in touch.
Okay.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.